Here we have the lavish new Formula K go-kart circuit in Benoni. Over here we have the Ride Fast magazine photographer Stefan. And this is Kyle, aboard the brand new KTM RC 390. The RC has presented a slight quandary in the KTM ethos of ready to race, because out of a full field of World Supersport 300 racers, there's only one KTM, and apart from the odd podium, it hasn't done that much. But the world of racing and the world of riding are often two different things.
It brings me back to my youth. I love the fact you can jump on the highway, you're cruising along, and you actually don't feel like you're doing as fast as what you think you are. You look down, you're doing 160 k's an hour, but when you're cruising through the traffic, it feels like you're only doing 80.
The motor is still a 373cc single pushing 43 horsepower, but now with a few tweaks. It has a new ride-by-wire throttle, meaning new traction control and the option of a two-way quick shifter. With the new throttle comes a bigger airbox and revised engine mapping, giving the 390 even more torque along the rev range than the previous model, and that was already considered the torque king among the 300cc rivals. It also makes the power delivery smoother, meaning the torques and horses can be better put to use. Improved cooling means less heat when the going gets hot.
Very revvy motor. From about 5,500 RPM you can feel it pulls really nice, but it's also got nice bottom end where you don't have to worry about it stalling all over the place. So it's very user friendly. When you're on the track you can feel in the higher revs it wants to go, it just wants to be released.
The trellis frame is new, creating better stability and more rider feel. It also skims 1.5 kilograms off that of the previous model. The old WP suspension has been tossed in the skip and replaced with new, more advanced versions. The front forks have 30 clicks of rebound and compression adjustment, just like the big bikes. The new axle clamps and a new hollow axle save on precious unsprung weight. And this is aided further by the bi-Brembo calipers that save a further kilogram of unsprung weight, and the new stylish 5-spoke wheels save a further 3.4 kilograms. It's surprising that the unsprung part of the bike doesn't simply float away.
Suspension, first of all, when I jumped on it, I thought was a bit soft, leaving from KTM. Upon riding typical WP suspension, it works really, really well. On the track, I thought, oh, do I have to adjust it? Didn't have to adjust it at all. The suspension did its job and it kept me upright, and I think that's the most important thing.
The ABS does not just have a supermoto mode, but also integrates KTM's famous cornering ABS that adjusts the level of interference based on the bike's lean angle. As we've seen from KTM, its technologies have a tendency to trickle down to the smaller models pretty quickly, like we see with the cornering ABS here.
Around the track it feels good, it's nice and tight. I put the ABS mode into super motard, so you did tend to get the rear end to slide out a bit. But overall it is a very nice package around the track. Considering it's got road tyres on, the grip was phenomenal. Riding on the road, the one thing I had to get used to is the bars do feel quite wide. But the biggest thing that played at optical illusion with me was the mirrors. I thought I couldn't go in between cars because the mirrors are out here, and I thought, oh, I'm going to hit, but it's actually not as wide as you think.
If the bars are still not up to your standard, they can be adjusted by 10mm. More good comfort news, the 390 has a new seat that makes it easier for the rider to move around when on track, and more comfortable for when the rider isn't.
So the one thing that is nice about this bike is it's got a very neutral riding position. You would think with it being a more sportier one opposed to its cousin, the Duke, that you're going to be laying on the tank. It's got a very neutral riding position. The footrests are a bit slightly back, but overall the riding position can be used for day-to-day use. You aren't slouching over everything, and you're not getting tired, and it's not hard on your wrists. The one thing that I did struggle to like was the nose is very far, so it's got a very big bike feel, yet it's a very small bike, if that makes sense.
That new look is very much on purpose. The graphics are based on Brad Binder's MotoGP machine, while the controversial new front was developed very much by scientific principles, giving the bike a few extra clicks at top speed. The new tank is larger at 13.7 litres, making it the largest in its class.
Overall impression, it took some time to come with the looks. But overall, I think it's a great package for what you're paying. It's at 99,000 with all, you got super motard, ABS mode, you got full ABS, traction control on and off, and you can connect your phone to it.
Some serious upgrades there for the latest version of the RC390, and not a moment too soon either, because this is a class that's seeing some proper focus on it from a variety of manufacturers these days. Most of the RC's competitors are using parallel twins as well, and they tend to be better for higher revving horsepower and smoothness. Although KTM isn't exactly a stranger to making remarkable single-cylinder engines. The best one I've ever tried in a motorbike is their 690, which is not only powerful, it's also remarkably smooth for a single. But back to those competitors, what are they if you fancy a mini superbike type of model like the RC390? The first one that springs to my mind, because I've ridden it and it is really very good, is Kawasaki's Ninja 400. 44 horsepower from its twin cylinder engine with a lovely chassis that has the solid yet playful feeling of a beautifully set up bigger bike. It costs a bit more than the KTM at 105,000 Rand, but even with the price premium, it should be a serious contender for your money in this class. It doesn't hurt that it looks so good and so similar to the World Superbike winning ZX-10R, but then the same could be said of Yamaha's gorgeous little R3. It has quite a bit less capacity at just over 320 cc's, but still manages to shriek out a more than respectable 41 horsepower. The handling is as good as you would expect of a little sport bike wearing the R designation from Yamaha, and the build quality of this entry-level machine is also better than you might expect. I'd like to tell you the price, but I can only imagine it's probably more expensive than the other two, because Yamaha South Africa is, unlike the other importers who are upfront about their pricing, somewhat secretive on their website about what their models cost. You have to apply to get a price. Maybe they change on a daily basis or on a whim, or depending which way the wind blows. It's difficult to tell. What I can say is that if I work out what the price should be in Rand, given what it is in euros, I'm generally in the ballpark for most manufacturers, but way on the low side with Yamaha. My MT-09, for instance, translates to about 160,000 Rand in SA, where in fact it actually retails for somewhere around 190,000 the last time I heard. Doing the same for the latest R3 suggests a price of 106, maybe 107,000 Rand, so experience suggests it's probably nearer 120,000 Rand. Anyway, three major contenders for your money if you're South African and in the market for a 400cc supersports bike. And the KTM is the most affordable, just. Right, time for a quick ad break, after which we talk about the not so secret shame of the motorcycle industry in South Africa.